This is gonna be cool.
The topics and opinions expressed on the Dudes and Beer podcast are intended for an audience of 18 and up and are solely those of the host and guests. They neither reflect the opinions or values of either the sponsors of Dudes and Beer or your mother. I mean, seriously, have you ever heard these guys? They'll talk about anything.
Whoa, hey, you think they're gonna show it? They'll probably just blur it out. Whoa, check it out, Beavis.
Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Dudes and Beer, episode 64. We're here, this is actually our official launch of a lot of things. Welcome to Dudes and Beer 2.0, everybody. We are now officially a member of the Digital Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts.
Say what?
That's right. That's right. We have all kinds of good stuff coming up for you guys. Tonight in the studio, we have Nelson Kugle.
What up?
And Stephen Bishop, as always. And with us also is our very special guest, Tia Williams, co-host of the Pardon the Language, but Fuck Your Opinion podcast.
Hello.
Of which I am a huge fan. I love the concept. It's absolutely great.
We love you too.
And how have you been enjoying that?
It's been a pretty awesome experience so far. I can't wait till I get to where you guys are and I can say 64 episodes in. I'm like, gosh.
Yeah, it's great. It's just been over a year, and we're getting ready to start pumping out, hopefully, like 2 a week, all kinds of fun stuff.
That's
so
awesome.
it's going to be super, super fun for us. But on that note, one of the other things we have is new official sponsors. So whenever we come back from this commercial break, we're going to be talking with Tia about the recent presidential debate, as well as the questions brought up in that about the racial divide in America, what's going on with the current state of police shootings, and what we can do to reach across the aisle and make things a little bit different right after this message from our sponsor. Why projects?
He don't even have a license, Lisa.
Three drunk drivers.
Hey everybody, Chris Jordan, host of the Dudes and Beer podcast here. Has this ever happened to you? Tired of looking in your rearview mirror after a couple of drinks with friends or worrying about no-refusal weekends and DUI stops? Are you planning a night on the town and want an easy, safe way to get around while still having fun? Well, Fare is the ride service for you. Simply download the easy-to-use and free Fare app from the Google Play Store or iTunes Marketplace and use promo code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to save 10% off your ride. Have a Fare driver you liked riding with? You can not only give them a review and tip, but you can add them to your preferred drivers list on your Fare app and request them every time you ride with Fare. You can schedule rides with Fare to pick you up immediately or as far as 30 minutes to 7 days in advance, eliminating the need for last-minute calls and allowing you to pre-schedule pickups in locations other than your home city. Perfect for those traveling for business or for fun. So don't forget to stop on by and download that free Fare app and use the coupon code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to get 10% off your ride. That's right, don't forget the coupon code is DUDES10. So be like Dudes and Beer, everybody. Party safe, use Fare, and drink responsibly. That's right. As a matter of fact, I actually used Fare on the way over here tonight. That was my first Fare ride. And I gotta say, Gabe, my driver, was absolutely fantastic. Utterly clean car.
What kind of car?
He had an Elantra. It was fancy. He let me ride up in the front seat.
Nice.
As a large guy with size 16 feet, it's tough for me to fit in a lot of bags.
Are you a basketball player?
No, but I was the manager of the basketball team.
What's Gabe
So
cute?
technically, I lettered.
Gabe cute.
He was hipster cute. I guess he had the beard going on. He was a fellow ginger, so there was that soul connection there.
Right,
Mainly the fact that we'd both gathered lots of souls.
Yeah.
That's what all the
Exchange
freckles
numbers
represent.
and all that jazz. Yes.
So, and speaking of gathering souls, let's get into the presidential debate last night.
Why would you use that as a segue? Why would you use gathering of the souls as a segue?
Gathering of the souls.
Damn
it. You son of a bitch.
It was a gathering of something. I don't know if it was
Gathering a soul.
Yeah.
Put the hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
souls.
Thank you. You got it. That's just it. It's one of those, like, we are in such a state. It was funny. I guess Confucius posted last night, like, this is like watching some Saturday Night Live skit.
It was.
It really was.
It really was.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, Tia. Go ahead.
To be completely honest, I wish I could say I was kind of surprised by what happened, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much what we all expected. I was just praying that something else would have occurred, but
Yeah.
it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
Oh man, it was definitely interesting. I don't know. I don't think they really got to a lot of the questions that needed to be talked about.
Yep.
Like
agree.
I was saying earlier before the podcast, I thought it would have been really great if it was just them two in like the hotel room that you would have seen in like The Hangover.
Yeah.
And they just walked in. There was hidden cameras everywhere.
Yeah,
and it was
hidden
just them
cameras.
two hashing it out. You know, no hitting, no violence. Just
What
hash it
happened,
out. Like
playing in the background.
yeah, literally talk about like what's on your mind and talk about like be human beings,
Yeah.
Don't be
It's like a
voiced by
freaking
someone
circus,
else.
dude. It's like a circus, like it's all put on for one thing. We all know that. And then it's like, I kind of expected Trump to go off a little bit more, but I don't know.
A little bit more.
Wait, who are you leaning for?
Yeah, that guy.
No. I didn't mean it like that. No. I just expected him to say some more like crazy crap, But
He said plenty of crazy crap.
No, he did. No, grant that. But no, it's all like, like I wouldn't vote for any of them jokers anyway. So
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's like a big circus to me. It's like a big reality show, and it's really like it kind of undermines a lot of stuff.
But it wasn't a reality show. If
No,
you
it's
define
reality.
the term
That's scary.
reality,
That's the scary part.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't reality.
Right.
What I was talking about would have been more of a quote-unquote reality show.
Yes.
More so than anything that was
Right.
shown last night.
Exactly.
Okay.
No reality shows are reality, though, just
Well,
FYI.
I totally understand.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's
the truth.
the one thing, and I think you might agree with me, especially coming from a media study background like you do, and I see it as the fact of, Trump has been running off of his celebrity the whole time to begin with. And the fact that, like, if he was going to actually run, it would have been back in the days when, like, Lee Iacocca was president of Chrysler, stuff like that. Like back in the 80s when he was really on top of the game and everybody actually respected him. Now he's running off of complete and utter celebrity. And the fact is he's gotten this far off of complete and utter celebrity.
And there are a lot of people out there who agree with his views. So,
Absolutely.
whereas some of us, or the majority of us who have sense, can, see the bullshit. Some people play into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, most
Unfortunately,
definitely.
I think people are going to continue to do so.
Yeah,
For sure.
Well, and that's just it. And that's, the one thing that's happening, at least in my eyes, is the fact of, and I've said it on the show before, it is the greatest magic trick. Because the magician starts his trick when he says, I'm about to deceive your eyes. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you go into problem-solving mode and your observation just goes away. So you're not paying attention to what's going to actually happen. You're watching these little nuances when the real show is directly in front of your face. And it happened when Bernie Sanders went from independent to Democrat, then dropped out, and all of his followers went to Hillary. It's to me one of the biggest stage elections that we've ever seen. That will literally be just a windfall for Hillary because of the fact that there is nobody else.
So are you guys not voting?
Oh, I'm voting.
Who are you voting for?
I'm not,
If I
but-
can ask. You're voting for Hillary?
Yes.
You're not voting?
I'm not voting because I don't believe in this. I'm not going to participate in this circus. Yeah. I don't like it.
I wish I could say the same, but as much as we like to call it stage, I do believe that Donald Trump has a chance at winning.
I think he
And
does
I think people
now.
need to really open their eyes and understand that.
I think it does, but it's money.
Yeah, true. But us not voting is also basically damaging, and to me, it's a little bit irresponsible.
No, I'm not a not voter, but I've voted independent or green every election since I've been able to vote, and I'm 41. And I remember even in high school, I was the one dude. There was a guy that was actually running from Texas prison, and it was my senior year, and we all, in government had to do the thing, where you're doing campaigns and stuff. And in the mock election, I voted for him, and literally my whole class looked at me and I'm like,
Well, I'm just preparing for the purge.
Well, what's funny?
No, exactly.
Right?
Getting stacked up,
No, and the fact is, the celebrity has carried him so far that now he is a viable candidate, and that's what I'm saying is that he's built himself on that, and that was utterly evident last night. Like you said prior to the show, he didn't step up to bat like he'd been practicing to bat.
He didn't practice.
Yeah, he didn't practice.
Exactly.
He
pulled a Rodman.
Yeah, he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about in that show, and I think that he was pretty arrogant and probably thought he had everything in the bag until he realized. I kind of feel like last night he had a moment like, "Oh shit, I am not prepared.
Yeah,
this is not what I was expecting."
I think he had that moment.
I saw some article today where he actually blamed the microphone.
Oh my God.
Now, granted, you probably saw my post as well. I'm a live AV tech, and I was like, "What's up with the post ring and the mic?" Because I could hear that on the record, where in the house it was like.
Yeah, he had a lot of feedback.
Whoop. Well, it was mainly the moderator.
But what does that have? What does that have to do with
Nothing.
your answers?
Nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing
And your
at all.
answers. And
As a
whatever.
31-year-old has voted Republican his entire life, this is the first time I will vote completely left. The reason being is Trump, this is my opinion, Trump is a businessman and he's got great business ethics, but he's not a politician.
He has great business ethics.
Yeah, I mean, he's as a businessman, he does. He knows what to do. He knows how to work
He
his
is
capitalism.
actively lacking.
He knows how to
Yes.
buy something cheap and sell it expensive to make money to put in his pocket.
Well,
that's what he does. As a politician, he doesn't have the desire. He doesn't have the derivative, and he doesn't have the drive to get to where he needs to be as a politician. And that is why I'm not voting for him. Hillary Clinton, yes. The Clintons have made some bad decisions, but for a majority of what they have done a lot of good. They have done a lot of good things. They have brought a lot of peaceful, they've done a lot of work for the other lower-end communities throughout the world to bring them together. What I feel like what Hillary's trying to do is trying to bring the world together. Like, that's what we need to do. Trump, I feel like he just wants to bomb and control. Like, if we get Trump in, he just wants to, fuck Iraq, let's just destroy him. Let's just drop some bombs there. And that's my opinion. That's just where I feel like he's going.
I mean, I agree with the part that he probably wants to. I'm about to knock everything over.
That's all right.
I did not sign a clause that said I was responsible. Remember that?
That's right.
You did.
I did not.
We're all part of the family now. It's okay. You can break whatever you want.
Yeah, we family.
I agree about he just wants to control. I really agree with that part. About him being a good businessman, I think I would question that even a bit. I mean, because he has gone bankrupt.
Right.
I don't know if I would necessarily
Took that class 6 times or something, they said,
I wouldn't
right?
say he was the best businessman.
No,
but
he
it's
wasn't
kind
the
of
best,
it's kind of
but he was good.
It's what they've played up.
Well, and granted, I've made the point of, even though he was CEO, he's not the board. The board makes most of those decisions.
Sure,
so
the face.
He's the face of it. He's a horrible face of it. And I'm not going to deny that.
But
I'm not
he
going to
started
deny
that board.
Well,
You
true,
know?
but they ultimately make the financial decision.
They
not
do.
the CEO.
No, not at all. But
So-
as what I'm trying to say,
and that's
as a
where the
businessman-
buffer. That's where the beautiful buffer comes in. And like you were saying, the one defense that I would absolutely have ever is that yes, why would you ever release your tax return until an audit's done? Because obviously, if they're auditing you, they have questions about it. So whatever you gave them wouldn't be correct.
But then he was saying, I'm audited every year.
Well,
Yeah, he
and
did
that
say
does,
that.
Why are
that
you
does
being
happen.
audited every year?
Well, and that's
That's the
absolutely
thing,
true
is if
too.
you're
That's
being
why-
audited every year, there's a question. I'm 31 years old. I've never been audited.
Well, you also don't make as much money as he does. You also don't have international.
But there are people
Yeah,
that
but there are
make
other
more
people
money
who
than he
make
does, and they
much
don't
more.
get audited every
Absolutely.
year. Take
I'm
Richard
not saying-
Branson. That guy doesn't get audited
I'm
every
not
year.
saying it was not an
Mr.
extrapolation.
007?
It was a huge
Oh,
extrapolation.
the other guy. I mean.
My whole
The
thing
man is
if,
full of extrapolation.
if you're filing your taxes correctly and you're being audited and you know that what you're doing is correct, you know you're not doing anything wrong, then what's the problem in releasing that? What's the issue?
Right.
Now, if you
Right.
know you probably fucked some shit up,
Right.
then okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to release anything to you
True.
because it's kind of
Yeah.
questionable. I don't
Yeah.
want y'all to see some things.
Right.
So,
Could be.
and I think that's pretty much what's going on with that.
Right. Yeah, it does leave a lot of
Absolutely, I
questions.
would tend to agree with that as well.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
it's also the fact of, even like he said, if the tax law was written different, unfortunately, he's got the money to be able to afford lawyers to manipulate the tax law to his advantage. And the tax law is written that way. If you have the money, you can manipulate the cracks and crevices and write things off and lose millions of dollars, and it's okay, and you get it back.
Well, and that's where Hillary was talking about how she wants to fix those loopholes, and there are a lot of loopholes, and those things that do need to be fixed. There are, and like we were talking about before, I mean, if you take a step outside of the box and look at these two candidates, no, they're not the best of both sides. No. But that's what we're stuck with, and that's the problem. And I know that Hillary has made some mistakes before, especially with Bill, but of the odds weighing anywhere, it's going to be in her favor. Mm-hmm. I feel like she can do the most good, even though there might be negative. All politicians have negative. You know, the Democratic Party, since 2 decades ago, have been more lenient towards the Republican Party. They have stretched so far to where the left is more like centered right. You know, they're like, okay, let's work on this. But the Republican Party is just like, no, like, we want this. Yeah. And the Democratic Party is just like, all right, let's work on this together. And so from extreme left and extreme right, there is no much extreme left anymore. The left is really like centered right. And if you're going to go off of that topic, I feel like Hillary can still do some diplomatic process to actually make both parties work.
I mean, and not only that, but I think it's quite hilarious that we're at a point where you basically have someone who has absolutely no experience in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He knows absolutely nothing about the government.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have someone who actually is experienced. And to me, although some of us may not be fans of Hillary, we have to agree that she actually is the only candidate who has experience.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows what she's talking about.
Right.
So,
she does.
Yeah.
She does.
If she makes any mistakes, it's not going to be bombing Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the fuck of it. Yeah. Literally.
I don't need him. I don't need his hand on any kind of button.
Well, I like how she said
anywhere near it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, one of the topics that Lester brought up was the race relations in America and the police policies that were going on. And
both their answers were shitty, by the way.
Oh yeah, both their answers were horrifying. I mean, number one, the concept that Hillary said that police were outgunned. No, I'm sorry. For like the last 3 years, they have been like able to get military surplus at cut rate costs.
Yeah,
they are nowhere near outgunned.
They get tanks now. You know,
if either of them would have said something to the effect of, we need to have one, let's eliminate administrative paid leave anytime an officer is actually shooting somebody, because I can go to work right now and slap the shit out of my boss, and I can guarantee you they're not going to tell me, well, we're still going to give you pay, but you got to stay home for a week while we investigate why you smack the shit out of your boss.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
Also, I mean, how about the training for these officers?
Exactly.
Because all that I'm seeing currently is you're giving a gun to people who are already on high alert. They're really, honestly, to me, not thinking and not making the best judgment calls.
They're military.
And you're putting them out on the street. There's no degree. You don't have to have a 4-year degree to be a police officer.
Right.
First off, what kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
You're telling me that a school teacher is required to get a 4-year degree, go through all of this, but an officer who has an option of taking somebody's life doesn't have to go through all that. And to me, it makes absolutely no sense at all. If either of them would have said something, well, we know
you
Trump
can take a person's life.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It boggles my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and you know, even going deeper than that goes into what we were talking about before the show with the previous Clinton laws that led to the overpopulation of prison and the high incarceration rate for minorities that has created this disparate divide. That seems to exist, where, you know, in the case of the shooting in North Carolina, where the brother came out and was talking about how all white people are devils, and you know, to me that's a harsh statement. Number one, I guess I consider myself someone who doesn't really see that. I consider people devils. And it was interesting. I think about a day or so after that, I posted the video from Free Thought.
Yeah, when they were the cop and the gentleman.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, where he was actually taking on the protesters and telling them, like, listen, this is what's actively happening right here is half the problem. Like, we need to fix the way that we talk to each other and the way that we think about each other.
Completely agree with that, but here's my problem.
Go ahead.
You watch this video and you see the young man, which African American man, And he is going up to the officers, and he's telling the officers, and he's hugging them, and he's trying to speak to them, and he's, speaking out and letting the other protesters know that this man didn't shoot anybody. This man in particular didn't do nothing or didn't do anything. Yeah. And while he is right, I really wish officers did the exact same thing.
Yes.
Everyone wants to say that not all officers are bad, and I completely agree. I have officers in my family as friends. If anything ever happened to them, I'd die. Yeah. So I see it. I get it. We're all human. But I really wish they would come out and speak against things the same way that we come out and speak against it. If you're really not a bad person and you're not a bad officer, then why don't you come out and you say something?
Right.
And I think it was a young lady, can't remember her name, but an officer came out and we all thought she got in trouble because she actually spoke out about the actions of another officer. He shot
I saw that one. Yeah, and she got fired, didn't she?
She actually didn't get fired.
Oh, she didn't? Okay.
I think something happened, and I want to say the media took it, ran with it, and maybe they kind of pulled back. Like her boss was like, okay, we're not going to do this.
Because she spoke out about it. She spoke out. She said that was wrong.
Yeah, but it's going to take people putting themselves on the line and people making themselves uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that I should protest and I should rally so that I can bring attention to a cause, but then a police officer can't put his job on the line and speak up for me as well. I think we all need to get to a point where there is understanding. To me, you cannot have love without understanding. And I think everybody took a step back and kind of looked at things from different vantage points because we always look at things with this narrow view. Case in point with the young man coming out and saying that all white people are evil. First off, the dude's brother was just murdered by a police officer. Whether that dude whether he was black, white, yellow, green, or whatever, you kind of have to sympathize with him at that point.
Yes.
Right.
No one should be asking him questions.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Period. If you come to me within a couple hours of my mom, something happened to my family members, I don't give a damn. My filter is gone.
The filter. And that's exactly what we were both saying is the media has completely spun this. Yeah. And is this
for
the
their
actual
advantage.
Thought of this guy? And that's what we have to examine is it the actual thought or is it the media spin of what he said and when he said it and the circumstances under which he said it? And if everybody there in his face asking him questions at that time, dude, I would have the same damn reaction.
Yep. What do you think?
I would have the exact same damn reaction. I mean, I have that vehement reaction to the media all the time and they ain't even in my face.
Yeah. I think a lot of people also forget that the media, like anything else, is at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yes.
Everybody there has a job. Everybody is there to get money, and you cannot get those money. You can't get that money without ratings.
No.
So a lot of people look to the news, and they really think that. And let me say this: some news outlets. I mean, I turn on KView or whatever the case is. I don't think they're spinning a lot of things. I think they're just reporting what's happening locally. Yeah. But the major news stations, I don't think they're really here to help or educate or whatever the case is. They are simply worried about ratings. What are people going to tune into? What are people going to watch? What is going to draw their attention? And people forget that.
Well, and that's something that we were talking about before you got here. And as someone who's done reporting and been a part of that, it's the fact of you're chasing the headline, you're not reporting. Reporters wait. Like good reporters are putting out like 2 stories a week because they're getting the facts. They're waiting for facts to come out. They aren't chasing a headline. And when you're chasing a headline, you end up with reactions like what happened, which guess what? Hot fucking headline. Headline. Like it's going to hit everywhere. It's going to hit everywhere. And it's going to change their paradigm. And when you do see things like that, when the media does take part in things like that, then you have situations like a protest going awry, which is what ended up happening in North Carolina, where things just lit off after that. And, like...
What did they expect?
Exactly.
I want to say the biggest man out of that protest was the guy going out giving hugs. I mean, he was the bigger man of all of it because you got these 2 sides, and each side wants to be right, and they're like all like, okay, the police are like, okay, we got this is the right and this is the mob. Okay, these are the bad guys, and the mob is kind of thinking, oh, the police are the ones that fall here, and we got this one guy, and he's all about like, hey man, let's just get along, man. Hey dude, like or whatever, let's spread peace and love.
Was that the public defender that was wearing the suit?
No.
Because there was a public defender out there wearing a suit. I forget his name because CNN interviewed him. But what he was doing in front of the main, like right at that first intersection where you had the whole wall of the police throwing tear gas as they were moving forward, he was trying to get people away from the police. Like, go home. Like, just fucking go home. And he was a public defender. And and he was kind of being the most biased person on that whole.
Now this guy had a shirt that said "Free Hugs."
Free hugs. That's the black guy that I was talking about earlier. He
Free hugs, and he would just go out and he gave a cop a hug.
He was the one with the Free Thought Project,
and then he got hate on, got hated on people for doing it. From the protesters and stuff like that, and he's just trying to neutralize the situation and spread love and spread peace and
the problem too with that protest is there was a lot of people watching that protest. Yeah. And I felt like they're like, oh shit, so this is going on and all the cops are involved in it. Well, let's start some shit. Let's go break in and steal shit and cause a riot. And then that's where a peaceful, legitimate protest where Black Lives Matter wanted a peaceful protest to start just blew up in this crazy debacle of one guy got shot and he was in critical injury.
He got shot in the head with a rubber bullet.
Yeah, and people were talking about, did he pass?
I saw reports that he passed, but then I saw something else that came out that said he was still in critical condition.
Yeah.
So I'm unsure.
And when that first happened, people were saying, they weren't saying it was a cop, but they said that someone was shot, and people started the cops shot someone else. Right.
Well,
and it wasn't.
And that's the funny thing is I heard the exact opposite. When I'm looking or when I'm on social media or when I watch CNN, even the headline said, one shot at protest. It didn't say who did the shooting.
No, it didn't.
It almost made it look like the protesters were out there being violent or something, and that really wasn't the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know someone who lives in Charlotte, and he's actually in Afghanistan right now. And he was so hurt. He's like, what is really going on in my city? And I'm like, you come out and you protest, you want to be peaceful, and there's always something that happens. You think about Dallas. They went out there and it was a peaceful protest. And then that turned into all kind of hell.
Exactly. Exactly. Same thing in Baton Rouge. And it's something that it's a topic that we've brought up on the show before is the infiltration of people like that into peaceful movements. The same way that the Black Panthers were infiltrated back in the day, and the same way that Black Lives Matter seems to have some people inside of it that do crazy stuff. Because they're just attached to the movement, and it's a horrible, and it is a narrative, and it's something that's pushed, and they're people that they aren't actually part of the movement, but because they're there at the time, they're associated with it.
Yeah. I think people forget that Black Lives Matter was an organization that was started specifically to discuss or paint or shine a light on police brutality and men and women being murdered at the hand of cops. And I think people forget that. Yeah. Somehow it's just simply turned into a hashtag. And I'm like, no, this is an actual organization. And people completely forget that.
They forgot.
Well, the problem is Black Lives Matter wasn't a statement to be answered. It was a statement that all lives do, it's yes, we understand, but Black lives do matter. And it's not, and that's the problem that a lot of people are gathering, Black lives, it's not a question. We don't need all lives matter. Exactly. We understand that. We're all fucking human beings.
Oh, God, I love you so much.
But that was the whole thing. Yeah. And then that's where it blew up from there. It's like, no. Yeah. It's not a fucking question. Yeah. It's not a question. I don't need an answer. I'm just letting you know where I stand as a human being.
And I always feel like, and call me crazy, but there always seems to be a problem when African American or Black people stand up to say that we love ourselves. People always feel like that means that we're saying we don't love anybody else, and that's not.
Yeah. No, that's not that's not what I said.
Exactly. Me saying Black Lives Matter does not mean that I said anybody else's life.
No, I did not say that at all.
At all. If I say Black Power, that does not mean
not at all. Not at all.
I never said that.
Not at all.
And people take that and they run with it. Well, all lives matter. Everybody's lives matter.
I know.
Yeah, right.
No, don't give me that shit. That's not what I'm fucking saying.
You're twisting it, and you're taking the narrative and running with it, and that's not the case.
Well, and that's just it. And that's something that, has happened. The narrative has been run with. It's been run with so far, just like we were saying before the show, that universities, UCLA, Stanford, universities that were central in the civil rights movement, when the original protests happened and everything else, that fought for integration, that fought for that, are now putting up segregated dorms.
I still can't believe that.
And to me, it's a step backward that goes beyond my lifetime, and I'm 41.
Yeah,
for crying out loud.
It's almost like you think about the next generation coming after us, and they're going to come into this, and it's like, wow, or is it going to go back to being black here, white here?
Yeah,
because that's kind of what people are turning it into. If you have a segregated school, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that a young adult is going to go to college and there's actually going to be a segregated dorm. Like, what year are we in? What year are we? What's going on?
Well,
I understand
and that's just it. Like, it's interesting to me, that it's a true paradigm shift. And it's something that, our parents, I was speaking to you before the show, Tia, that, my family comes from deep country on both sides, and I have integrated country on one side and not really integrated country on the other. And really close family like that I just don't understand their concept. And it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Everybody is a human being. I grew up, I guess John Baum mentioned it in an episode a few back where we were really the first generation to grow up without that window of bias there, where we were just all classmates. Right. We just all went to school together. We played football together. We played basketball together. We were in shop class together. We were in home ec. We were in choir, stuff like that. And we just were. Nerds were nerds, jocks were jocks, and there was no racial divide there, really. And somewhere along the line, this has really kind of flipped and shifted and gone back to this like 1948 mentality almost.
Right.
I think people have a problem saying when something is wrong that it's wrong, and so if anybody comes out and let's just say there's some type of hate crime, I don't care if the person was blue, black, white, yellow, beige, invisible, whatever.
LGBT doesn't matter.
I'm pink.
Pink.
Can you? Yeah, thank you.
Pink. I don't
doesn't
think
matter.
Hey, pink lives.
Your nose is kind of
Pink lives.
Pink lives matter.
They all do.
Whomever that person is, it shouldn't matter because they're human first, and I think a lot of people forget that.
Exactly.
They completely lose that within all of the other mumbo jumbo. It's like at the end of the day, this was a human being. This person felt, this person loved. They were here just like everybody else.
Yes.
If you cut and you shave my skin off, you pull it back right now, all of us are going to look the fucking same.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely right.
I think people completely forget that.
Yeah. No, and that's just it. It becomes about what you see, and for some reason about bias of culture when there's bias of culture on all ends. Good God. I mean, we were talking about Trump earlier. That's half of the issue with what's going on there is this bias of culture and a misunderstanding of culture. And we have to reach out. We have to try to widen our spectrum of view. There's a lot of colors that make up the rainbow, and there's nuances between everything. And to not try to understand that, to me, like I've mentioned on posts before, to me that's marked ignorance.
Yeah.
To not try to understand it, to not talk to people.
And it's not just the race thing. I think if people can't understand something, it almost is like I can't put you in a box.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't put you in a box.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Just like I feel like there's an attack on Muslims.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For what?
You think of a Muslim and you're stereotyping them into what into what they are, what they're supposed to be. And I'm like,
how about how many Christians that were murderers at one point?
Exactly.
Let's go after Christians. All of a sudden,
matter?
He was Christian and he murdered somebody. Come on, dude. What the hell? What the hell, dude?
Yeah. Everybody's being shoved into a box, and I think that's a problem. For me, one thing I've always told people is, even with police officers, I don't necessarily think that, and somebody's probably going to say I'm talking like a fool, but I don't necessarily think that all officers that have murdered any black or brown people are racist. I think that it goes back to what they've seen, what they are taught, what the media shows them. They make you believe that a brown or black person is more prone to commit crimes or to do something, and you stick these people who aren't from the neighborhoods, who have not attempted to understand the people, to police his people and expect that he's going to be okay there. Well, you just told me that I should fear this person. Yeah. This is who I'm supposed to be scared of. And you're going to put me here, and then you expect me to Like, really?
It's their training, and I remember back in the day they used to have protect and serve on the car. We're the ones that want to protect and serve and stuff. But it almost seems like almost in every situation, it seems like if they approach you, it almost seems like the person on the other side, say like me or something, I feel like I'm automatically, hey, I'm the victim, or not the victim, but I'm up to something. I'm automatically, hey, it's not a friendly thing. It's not like when he walks up, I'm like, he's not very friendly, not here to help me per se, but he suspects something, and I'm something that he's, and I think that has to do with their training. And all that has to be redone. I think it's like reprogramming them, But I definitely think that for sure. There are things. A lot of them are from military and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of stuff and stuff like that. But hey, maybe they need to take a desensitizing class or something. I don't know.
The psychological evaluations. I'm just like, okay, well, I don't think y'all are doing a pretty good job at it, because right now it seems like all these people are either batshit crazy or scared as hell, or maybe they were bullied when they were younger, and so now they feel like they got something to prove.
Right. Exactly.
I watched a video earlier where a man literally was just sitting in his car, and a cop approaches him, and he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm sitting in my car."
Right.
He's like, "Well, can you get out of your car?" And he's like, "Why would I get out of my car for what?" And the cop kind of grabbed him on the wrist, and he's like, "Sir, you're touching me, and you're touching me for no reason."
Yeah. Right.
And so he reaches to pull his the Bluetooth out of his ear, the guy in the car, and the cop immediately pulls his gun out. And I'm like, what happened to you guys being friendly? Because when I grew up, I didn't run into any officers who were just fucking evil.
Exactly.
Right. A guy, an officer, rest his soul, he's now dead.
A cop is used to be the one that you want to go to when you need help, but now it's like nobody was like, no.
I actually remember, and I was probably a sophomore in college, but I actively remember the first time, because I knew a lot of cops, going to church and everything else, being involved in my church and working at the grocery store. I knew probably a good 6 cops on a regular basis that I saw and talked to. And I remember the first time that I had a flat tire, and I went up and asked a cop for help. And he was like, "What the fuck do I look like, AAA?" Hey, yo, whatever happened to go ask a cop for help?
Right? No, you look like an officer, and maybe you can.
That happened to my sister. She had a flat tire, and she had 3 police officers just pass by her. Yeah. She's stranded on the side of the road, a female, no help.
Jeez. Yes.
I think there's a barrier there.
There is. They lost some.
I don't know if anybody, you guys remember it, but we had Dare when I was in school.
Dare. Yeah, I remember Dare.
I saw my Dare shirt.
Hey,
our school. And,
I grew up seeing it on TV, man. I remember the different strokes.
I used to have the green just say no shirt.
Do you guys still do that? Do cops still go into neighborhoods and try to get to know the people who are actually in the neighborhood?
Yes, they do.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like, because to me, it seems like you're seeing a little bit less. Yeah. It's less of that.
They need to get on that more personal level.
Exactly. That should be the number one thing that you need to be training people.
We need to be a community, as a city, as a neighborhood, as a state, but also as a world. We need to understand religions, race, and we need to understand the people as a collective.
Well, and
we're all on a small little rock floating in this enormous vacuum space that we can't even fathom to understand.
Yeah.
Why are we battling our fucking neighbors?
Well, I need to go back to to this. What you eat doesn't make me shit.
Right.
If everybody just lived by that motto, we would all be okay.
Right. That's nice.
There's no reason for me to hate you because of who you decide to sleep with, because guess what? What you eat doesn't make me shit.
Right. Yeah. I have no judgment because I've done stupid shit myself.
Hey, if it's
and that's just it. Recently, the last episode that we had live from Las Vegas was a lot about, number one, people. It was the American shame game and how we tend to shame people in this country. We tend to shame races. We tend to shame people's lifestyles. We tend to shame different strata of society into what they are. There was recently a video that was released where a cafeteria worker stopped her, quit her job of 15 years because she was literally being told to publicly shame these kids that were on the lunch program and couldn't afford food, and it's oh no, your parents haven't paid this week, so I can't give you breakfast.
What kind of shit?
That's jacked up, but it happens in schools.
It's because
you know,
people think what in their mind, they just speak it. Like you can think things, you can hold judgment.
No,
but
this was the
judgment.
policy to do.
I know, but that's the thing.
Came out with.
They just move forward. Like they just think whatever's in their mind is the right thing to do, and they put it out on paper and they make it happen. They don't actually think about the consequences it's going to hold for other people. And I can understand holding judgment. I hold judgment for Christians. I do, and I'm going to say that, but I don't hold it when I meet them. I can meet a Jehovah's Witness and a hardcore Christian person, and I am not going to hold any judgment to them because they're a human being. That's just me in my head, but I am not going to let it come out. And that's the thing is the barrier of your mental thoughts to your verbal life is where is that divide to where you need to let those opinions stay in your fucking head and shut your fucking mouth?
Well, and you know what? That is a great spot for us to segue off of to come back into the next part of this episode. So on that note, let's go ahead and take a break. We can take a bio, refresh our drinks, all kinds of stuff, and come back into some deep conversation. Not this time, dude. Last time you passed out.
I did that last time, dude.
So on that note, yeah.
Glad I shut up before this.
Yeah.
You know? That's all I do.
Have to, because
You do everything else.
That's right.
Nelson's not doing Facebook.
That's right.
Are you shitting me?
Oh.
Nelson was on Facebook for a little while, and I think he was forced to be on Facebook.
I was forced to be on Facebook.
And he's not on Facebook anymore. But that's okay. Nelson handles our Instagram action.
I'll do Instagram all day long.
Yeah, he's an Instagram
You do the
freak,
Instagrammer.
Facebook is starting. It's kind of depressing.
And then when I get my laptop over here, I'll be doing Twitter while we're doing
I said that before I was on Instagram.
I just followed you guys.
Or I said that before I was on Facebook. That
Nice.
Facebook is depressing.
Tia's following us, so be nice.
Oh, there she is, right there.
There's
There she is. I got the update.
there's the Imperial probe droid alerting you. So we're
Hey,
back.
follow me too. I need more followers.
We're back, everybody. Chris Jordan here with the Dudes and Beer podcast. We have Tia Williams from the FYO podcast,
Fuck
as well
your
as
opinion.
Fuck Your Opinion.
Fuck your opinion.
Which I love it. I love it.
Fuck that shit.
I
That needs
love.
to be our new intro. Confucius.
Fuck
Yeah.
your opinion.
Oh, we
sound
can
better
make
than
that
you.
happen. Yeah. We can make that happen. Yeah, absolutely. So
That's
tell us a
dope.
little bit about the show.
Okay, so fuck your opinion. It's actually Confucius Jones's. Is it Jones's?
Jones's as it is.
Jones's.
That's
Yeah.
cool, because I would have made the same mistake.
There's 3 S's there.
It's his baby. He invited me to be the co-host on the show, and basically what we do is we talk about news and politics and try to bring it down to a level that millennials and those guys in our age group would actually want to listen, because as we know,
Old
people
folk
think,
like me.
well, you're not old.
It's okay.
But you're not old.
No, technically I'm not old. I'm vintage.
You're okay.
I'm
I
beyond
like that
classic.
spin.
I'm vintage.
Oh,
I like
beyond
that.
classic.
I just hope you know I'm going to
I'm not yet an antique. I've got 9 years before I'm antique.
Yeah.
Or no, 75 is antique.
That's the category you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
But we feel like the younger generation is kind of tuned out of politics, and they're kind of tuned out of news, and there are some things that are important that we stay aware of, and so we just try to be that voice for them.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And let me plug FYO Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also find us on SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes under FYO with Confucius Jones.
Nice.
Hopefully he'll update that.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
Caught him out.
dope.
Hi,
But
Confucius.
I mean, I love the concept, and that's just it. Like a lot of this show is unspinning the spin of the media and doing things like what we were doing in the earlier part of the episode, where we actually get down to the root cause of things, as opposed to what the media is trying to make us think.
Yeah.
And so many people are sucked in by that media. So many people are sucked in by social media.
Oh God.
And
Social what?
And yep.
I've got so many friends that believe everything on Facebook. You know, they see a post on Facebook and they believe it. You know what I mean? Even though it's fake. Like, even when like one of the good instances, like so and so.
Those
dead,
people are the devil.
and the dude's not dead. You
Yeah.
know, it's like come
Tommy
on.
Chong is not dead.
Exactly. That's a new one I saw.
He's not?
That's not new.
No.
We don't read. We don't research. We basically have gotten to a point where we're comfortable with allowing other people to tell us what something is before we actually try to think on our own or look into something for ourselves.
It's the regurgitative education process, really. It's the fact of you listen, you repeat, you pass. class. It's no longer a process of critical thinking within our education system, and that turn happened, unfortunately, right up around the mid '90s, and especially now that Common Core has taken place. Oh my sweet baby Jesus! The things that are denied in education now are horrifying. Even the new proposed Hispanic literature textbook in Texas, where it's like, what the Shasta? Most of the Texas history that we had to begin with was a little bit skewed. But then to take it to that point was like, oh God. So to me, it's something that, we talked about it a lot in episode 63 from Vegas, where people are no longer educated. They're taught a lot of facts. And they're taught to regurgitate facts.
Not necessarily taught to think for
themselves. But they aren't
Right.
taught to critically think through those facts.
I feel like people today are taught what to think rather than how to think.
Exactly.
And think upon their own.
One thing that I always find crazy when I see it, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but have you ever seen a child kind of question their parents, and their parents like, who are you? You don't question adults.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
You're
Don't
teaching-
question
you're
me.
teaching
I'm
a
your authority.
You're teaching a child not to question things when they don't understand it, when it should be the exact opposite.
Yes.
Actually.
I've seen some YouTube videos like that where they filmed a little kid and he's like having a whole conversation with his parents about a cookie or something like that.
Oh no, that one's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
because he's
it's
giving
like-
his mom the business, and they're filming it like it's a joke, and it's like,
this
no,
guy-
no.
Yeah, he ought to have a
needs
job.
He needs to be
doing it.
corrected. That baby needs to be. But
He was a smart thinker. That's all I know. It's like
I've taught ages 4 to 40, and technically the only difference is by age 40, you should know better than to pull people's hair.
You shouldn't do that?
No.
Well, I'm 27, so I'm
yeah.
thinking, I can
Okay.
still
All right.
pull
All
hair.
right. Yeah.
I'm 30. I still pull people's hair. I pull
You
my
got
mom's
13
hair.
more years. Pull away, girl.
Can I pull your hair?
I'm 31. I'm like, hey, mom.
His friends really didn't listen.
Nelson, go cut the
Where's
lawn.
my hair?
They pulled you bald.
Oh God! But yeah, literally, like we all have this infinitesimal side. We all have this baby inside of us. We all have this easily wounded child. And social media, we've talked about it a lot here, where it's like people seem to think that there is no repercussion to what you say on social media. You see, I mean, even Texas Parks and Wildlife in the last 3 years has recorded like 100% fold, like 100-fold arrest rates from people like, look at this gator I shot in my backyard. And it's like, A, you have no gator license. B, that's your backyard, you hillbilly.
You hillbilly?
The
problem-
look at this deer I shot. It's not deer season.
The
What
problem
are you
is
doing?
too is social media is defined as social media for a reason. It is a social outlet for people to communicate with their friends and understand what's going on in someone else's day.
But now news is in there.
Well, not just that though, but it's
the
fact-
news is doing hot topic updates, and they're not giving a full story because they only have 500 words to put in a topic,
And that's all
at the
for
minimum.
There is no clicking
No.
on anything.
No,
to
that's
read
the
an
problem.
edition. It's a headline. That's what they're taking. They're going to run with the
And,
next.
and that's
that
what
headline.
that's what I try to tell my friends. Is if you are so interested in social media and you still want to get news somewhere, you can't get it from social media. If I can give you one outlet to read up on, to get a full story of what's going on in the fucking world, not just here, or not just your city. Sorry, did I curse? Sorry, children. I know we have a lot of kid listeners.
That's right. We're big
Kids
in the
listening
8-year.
to dudes and beer.
Like that's all of our listeners. It's all children.
We're big with the 12-year-old Iraqi audience.
Kids listening to dudes and beer.
But if you really for
some
me,
cool
kids, if I'm trying
think
to
on
get,
their own.
exactly.
We got a
If I'm trying to
20%
give-
audience in Iraq, so watch it.
If I'm trying to give someone a pointer to actually try to get some sort of news, is Read The Economist. Read Bloomberg.
Right.
Like, they are giving you weekly updates.
Yeah.
It's not monthly.
And you're saying things that people normally already know, but
Right.
guess what? Guess how many people wake up and look at their phone, boom, what's going on today? And they'll go straight to Facebook and get like...
Exactly.
Now,
and that's the problem.
Now,
That's the
I'm not
problem.
saying those are wrong, but they skew some headlines.
Right.
Now, they're not just going to put out a headline, so-and-so was killed, and no one was ever really killed. They're not going to do that.
Right.
But if you want the true facts from that, you need to read about it.
Well,
don't just believe what is
Not that
instantly
first
coming
one.
to your phone every 30 seconds.
The fact is, like we were talking about Facebook earlier, it's the fact of what you're looking at is what's trending.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tend to follow conservative stuff, that's the news you're going to get.
Yeah.
And, what I was getting into with Facebook and with social media was the fact of people say things and think that they are not accountable. And I didn't make you sign. I'll let you see the disclaimer. I didn't make you sign the disclaimer. You're part of the Revolution Digital Group. You're part of the family.
Start breaking shit.
You ain't gonna come after me for whatever you've said.
You guys gave me alcohol. I'm
Don't say that live on air.
Not just alcohol. There's a cooler over there for you.
A whole fucking...
And I got a very pretty cup.
I'm jealous that you have ice and I have no ice.
It's got your name.
Would you like to borrow some of mine? I was going to give it to you anyway.
But literally, we have a disclaimer that we have most guests sign, and one of the parts of the rules of the forum is if there's something that you're going to say that you think is going to get you in trouble with your baby's teacher at school, going to get you fired from work, going to make your grandma sad, just don't fucking say it, because I'm not going to edit it.
People don't think about that.
Exactly.
Like you were saying earlier. Nobody.
And the sad fact is, I have to put that in a disclaimer.
Everything that comes to my brain should come out of my mouth. Period. And you're stupid if you tell me otherwise.
When I first joined this podcast, I did a talking sound episode with him, with the band. And my boss found that video. Like, it got to his phone. My boss found this video. Like, he doesn't even listen to my music. He doesn't listen to Center of His Attention. Right. Shout out Centers of Attention.
Centers of Attention.
This Saturday night at Red Shed Tavern, we go on at 10. Sorry, I had to
Centers of Attention. Centers of Attention.
And so, and that was funny. It's after that, it's like, I kind of have to watch what I say,
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
remember that. I remember when you came to me.
Because
you were like, my boss saw the episode. I'm like, cool, dude, you shared it with him? And he's like, no. Like, he randomly found the episode on Facebook.
We were at lunch, and he's like, I found this video. I don't know. I'm like, wow, I really got to watch this.
Does your opinion on this podcast affect your job work? No, it don't.
I don't think it would.
So nobody should hold that against you. I don't think.
Well, you have cases like someone will get on Facebook and they'll say something racist, and then they're shocked when they get fired. You are a school teacher. You probably should.
There have been major CEOs in the last couple years where it's come out like stuff that they put on Facebook in college, like 5-6 years ago, has come back to bite them in the ass, and they've lost like multi-million-dollar jobs.
Well, and that goes back to the point on our last episode where I was talking, or not last episode, but what we were just talking about, is where you have the mental thoughts and then you have the verbal thoughts. Yeah. Like, where is your barrier? Like, I don't care if you're fucking racist, if you're a bigot, or you hate.
I care.
I know, no.
I care a lot.
We do. We really do. But
because I have those people in my family, I have those people very close to me in my family.
You're right. I do apologize.
I straight up correct him, and I'm like, dude, that is the most bigoted fucking thing I've ever heard.
But
I don't want to hear that shit.
But if you don't want to be not prosecute, but if you don't want to be in that circle of those people, then don't fucking put it on social media.
Yeah, don't say it at all. Yeah,
don't say it at all.
In a perfect world, I would say don't think it. At
exactly.
All.
Or if you're going to be a smart person and you think that, and you be like, "Wow, that's not a right thing. That's not a good thought pattern.
Yeah.
I really need to get that out of my life.
Yeah,
I need to do something else in my life to get rid of those thought patterns. Just like fuck it. I had a huge addiction to porn in my younger years, and it really destroyed my life. And so I was like, I don't need this. This is not a positive thing. It's never brought any positive energy. Right. It's always been negative, and it's always gotten me in trouble.
Never brought any positive. Never mind.
No, it's never been positive for fucking anyone.
Positive energy from porn.
personally, I mean, if I was in a relationship and we brought porn,
it didn't lead him to good habits in life.
It didn't lead me to good habits in life as an individual. Now, if I was in a relationship and we both agreed on watching porn as a sexual outlet for both of us,
right.
and we were still a healthy couple,
right,
then yes, I can understand that, and that does work, and that's why porn business is still big. It's because people use it as a healthy outlet, but when you use it as a negative outlet as a teenager, it's not a healthy thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's very responsible and a strong mindset to recognize that, to you know, like you were saying, that you recognized that and was able to correct that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't recognize their problems and able to correct it on their own, you know. But to recognize it on your own habits and stuff, and be able to say, hey, I got this issue or whatnot, and go about correcting it, that's a good mind there, to be able to recognize issues and be able to correct it.
Now, can you imagine if somebody who was racist thought the exact same way, and maybe said, that doesn't, I probably shouldn't be having that kind of thought. Or maybe try to have an open dialogue with somebody. So if they understood something, I think we will all be in a better place.
A hugely better place.
Yes.
Well,
hugely better place.
I also feel like a racist person, their culture and their group of friends are also racist. As for me, as being addicted to porn as a teenager, I didn't tell anyone. It was my own thought. I didn't hang out with friends. We're at lunch group. We talked about the porn videos we watched that day. It was my own thing. So as a own individual, realizing my own struggle, I was able to overcome it. But when you are in a group and everyone around you is talking and is portraying that same negative thought, it's hard to overcome that. And that's where racism comes in. Is because racist people, they're not racist on their own. They're racist in a group.
Well,
that might not be completely true.
It goes beyond that. It goes really.
I have a little bit of, like,
go ahead.
I kind of agree. Like, you know what? I think like a lot of the negativity, and if you want to say it on the racist thing, kind of, you know, like it always takes that one kind of bigger point. Say if it's like at school or something, like a bully or something, you know, and he's like, man, that kid over there, man, or whatever, and this dude's the cool guy, you know. Everybody wants to be friends with the cool guy, right? But he doesn't like that dude over there. But you're like, hey, man, you know, you're kind of like, hey, this dude's kind of cool or whatever. You know, I kind of like this dude, but you want to be cool and you want to be in this group or with this guy over here, and so you kind of got to be that way, you know, in a way. You see what I mean?
Well, yeah.
It takes that one thing controlling the rest of these over here that influences, you know?
Well,
it's the influence.
And that's definitely, I mean, if you look at, especially in the prison culture in America, that's what happens. You segregate into the group because that's where the protection is. You know, you aren't necessarily an Aryan or anything like that, but you definitely can't hang out with the black side of the prison or with the Latino side of the prison. So you have to do that. And it's horrifying that that's the state of affairs. I truly believe and stand by the fact that racism is an inherited trait on all sides of the fence. Because in my mind, it's something that is taught by parents. It's something that, like I said before, I have two different sides of my family, and to see some of one side and see some of another is a vast difference.
And to me, that goes back to us being able to think for ourselves,
right, and
question things,
right?
Because
exactly.
You can't tell me just because my parents are racist that means I have to be racist.
No, you don't have to be. You don't have to be, but you do definitely have to. Like, you know, my mother.
You have to be able to step outside of that. And that's what I'm saying.
Like as a single mother, my mom utterly encouraged us to learn as much as we could on our own, and encourage us to learn about anything that we could.
Shout out to your mom.
Absolutely. I love my mom for that. My father, not so much. He was much more narrow-minded about things. And, you know, it was one of those that I even see it now amongst that I guess my Cajun side of the family is much more inclusive on a lot of ends. And like I have a lot of different aspects in my family, but to me it's something that you first learn by observing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not, like you said, allowed to make up your own mind, if you're not allowed, if that conversation doesn't happen, like I remember distinctly my mother taking us to go see Barbara Jordan speak at the San Jacinto Monument, because it was a monumental speech for her to give for the bicentennial. And, you know, it was amazing to go hear her speak. But to understand that dynamic and understand that not everybody is brought up with that kind of inclusiveness is sad. It's sad.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to me.
Well, what's on the sad point is my folks, you know, they live out in the country. My dad, I don't know, he shocks me at sometimes, the things he says, you know.
Of course, yeah.
And when I had the whole inner city move-in, it really gave me a whole eye-opening aspect to what the world really is, you know, like cultures, religion, races, and just the world as a whole. Like, there's more than just living in your own home and listening to, like, the certain frequencies that they like to listen to. Yeah. And I love my parents, but man, goddamn, you know, whenever I'm over there, I can't talk politics with them because it gets a little out of hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel the same way. And it's unfortunate because there is this generational gap, you know, like we said in the earlier part of the show. It seems like our part of the generation, at least my generation, and I guess Generation X, Generation Y.
I'll share this little story with you.
Go ahead.
When I was like in first grade, I was like, I don't know, 5-6 years old or whatnot. And my best friend, he was like a different color from me, needless to say. And he was like my best friend, you know? And so like he was no different from me, from my eye, and he was my best friend, you know. And like I remember, like it was the last day of school, and I was moving to a new school, and I guess he left before I could say goodbye or whatnot. And back in the day, this was a big deal. But the teacher like came to me and she was like, yeah, Thomas left this for you, and it was his toy. It was his main toy, his main one, and it was Shockwave Transformer. Nice. Mm-hmm. And I think that was like a $20 toy back in the day or something. Man, that was a big deal though back then. Jeez. And man, it was so dope. But it was like, you know, like, but I remember like, you know, stuff like that. It was like every now and then, like different people or something like I'd be talking to or something, or my parents or something. It seemed like there was a difference or something when it came to Thomas, but it was like, I don't see no difference in Thomas. Like, Thomas is my friend.
That's
you know?
the great thing, and that's the innocence of kids.
And
we never think about it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I know.
Well, and that's just it. Like we were just classmates. We played on the same teams. Mm-hmm. We had the same PE class. Mm-hmm. You know, it. I guess there's a generational gap there and an understanding that I guess kind of skips somewhat. Mm-hmm. And where are we at right now where that is being lost? Like we were saying earlier, where UCLA and stuff has literally jumped back 40 years, where it's like for some reason the thick American skin has gone away. You know, and the understanding.
I blame the education of the new people now that don't know their history, that should, like, I mean, back in the day, like, people like LCLA or whatever, the colleges and the universities used to be the ones that would stand up and have the like, we're not going to take this, we're, you know, this isn't right and stuff like this. And now I have a lot of friends now, like, at UT and stuff like that, and it's like, hey, and I know about, you know, the segregations now going on and stuff, and they don't even, like, I'm like, y'all don't know about this stuff going on? Like, I mean, y'all telling me all this, like, politically correct shit these days, but, dude, do you really know what's going on? Like, to me, this matters more than what you're talking about, dude. Do you realize what's going on? And this is like a step back in time, dude. Like, y'all need to stand up, dude. Y'all need to really stand up for something.
Well, I think there's a problem. Like I said earlier, I think people see race before they actually see a human being. And a lot of people are just okay. They're like, well, that's what Black people do. I was
well,
told that
and that's
they're violent,
and that is the stigmata that my dad put in my head that really irritated the fuck out of me until it was sophomore in college that I was actually out on my own. My sister moved into a house in Bastrop, and I was able to, I finally moved out on my own. And I got a literal cultural shock, and I realized how fucking wrong my dad is. Yeah. Like, I love my dad, but I'm just going to say this. At one point he told me, there's a difference. Okay. I'm going to say, his words. There's a difference between niggers and blacks. And I'm like, really, Dad? Really? You're going to fucking say that? You're really going to fucking say that? Yeah. Like, and that is what upsets me the most, is about my parents. My father, who I fucking love. I mean, I have a passion for records, neon signs, vintage antiques, and motorcycles because of him. But the biggest drawback is how uncultured and how stuck he is in his way. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, it's mind-boggling. It's unfathomable, and that's how we are. We still are that, and and it sucks. But for me, as where I am now, I am so thankful that I am where I am now. Yeah. Because I'm much happier.
It takes those to recognize, the faults, even if it's people that have been around for a long time. That sometimes it takes a different mind to see these things and to think of the new change or the better way. And just because sometimes you're older doesn't necessarily mean you're smarter or you know more per se. Right. I mean, you do have a lot of knowledge, grant that, but when it comes to maybe just being a human, I mean, it takes something other than just what you've been taught or told.
I know, it does. It takes
those conversations.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't.
Well, and that's just it. You really do have to have, like we said before, the open mind and willing to see things beyond the scope that you're used to viewing life. So often in life we go through with blinders on. And this is what we are, this is what we're doing, but how are we impacting the world outside those blinders as we go through the world?
So, crazy thing. So, I don't know if you guys know, but I started a blog called 365 Days of Brutality.
Yes.
365 Days of Brutality?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day for a year, I'm writing a blog about a different victim of police brutality because I think that it goes back to the trending and all that. I think not everybody has the quote-unquote luxury of trending after they pass. Yeah. We hear about certain cases, we hear about certain people, but we don't hear about everybody.
Not everybody.
No.
So I explored a case today, and it was Jay Anderson. He was 25 years old, sleeping in his car in a park, and he, I guess he slept with a gun in his lap, which was legal, but he slept with a gun in his lap because he's sleeping in a park.
Yeah,
sure.
If
makes
anybody
sense
approaches,
to me.
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
So a cop comes up to his car, and it ends in him basically being shot in the head 4 times.
What?
Wow.
What drove me crazy was the response of one of the neighbors, this white lady. And she's like, well, I'm just thankful that a cop was here doing his job. And if there was a guy in a park after the park was closed, then hey. And I'm like, that's why I go back to, we don't see people anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We stop seeing people for people.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't care that this person had children and was engaged.
Right.
Had his own company.
Family man.
Nobody
successful
ever
businessman.
Was asleep.
Was asleep. Like,
was asleep.
Nobody.
His intention was probably to protect
on the
himself
trigger
while he's
Exactly.
sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. I'm like, we really don't see people as people anymore.
Yeah.
And the media makes it so easy for you not to see a person as a person, because what do after something happens? They release a criminal record, or they tell you about how back in kindergarten they stole an eraser.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Stole an eraser.
Hey,
well, he cussed at his teacher in first grade. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's dehumanizing people.
I threw an eraser at my teacher.
Yeah.
The prime example is the Netflix show Making a Murderer.
Yep.
Like, that guy is actively getting a new trial because of that show. Because, and I've said it before here, I do not agree with cameras in the courtroom the way that they are. I don't agree with the way that we prejudge people, the way that the news presents cases before it's actually been tried. And at that point, you are actually pushing a paradigm. You're pushing a thought form. You're pushing something on that person, and you're actively making up the mind of people.
Right.
So even if they go into court and they work on that case, they've heard about this case on the news,
right,
preemptively, and they've heard
they're guilty before they're even judged, and before the facts are out.
Like I said before, I studied psychology and subliminal psychology and sociology, and once you start giving people these terms, you're setting them up utterly.
Agreed.
Like you're defining them as this by a default, and once you're doing that, the decision's made.
Yep.
Right.
You know, and that's so often the case in our judicial system. I've seen that. I know people who've been a victim of that, where, you know, just by default, because of what it is, this is the facts of the case, and it's like, no. That's not the individual facts of the case. That's the general facts of what happens in a lot of other things.
Yeah. But that's the world we're living in 2016. Don't you
Right?
love it?
Yeah. It's
The
a
world's all
thing.
jacked up, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love
Fortunately,
sociology, man.
There are some cases recently, like the judge in Pennsylvania that was recently put up on charges and was convicted for actually like selling adolescent kids into prison.
Oh, wow.
You know, because hey, he was getting a kickback. You know, I mean, these cases are shown, they're proven. There was a huge rampant secession of them back in the early 2000s, where public defenders in Texas were falling asleep in court. You know, and people were being convicted.
I would like to say I was surprised to hear that, but I'm
no, and that's a lot of what I was
think
getting
mine
to
might have
earlier,
too.
where it's not a race war. It's not a race war. It's a class war. If you have the money for defense, you will be okay. If you're in the hands of a public defender, good Lord Jesus help you.
Yeah.
I hope you get really close with the chaplain in the prison. And get good behavior, and, you know, play an instrument in the band at church, you know, because the chances of it are much, much less. And it's horrifying, but it's a fact, and it's all over the country. So those are the issues that we have to fix with the judicial system.
I have a question, and it might seem a little crazy.
What's that?
But
Do
based off
it.
of
There's
what
no
you just
crazy.
said,
No, there
because
ain't.
you just said that you think it's more of a class war than it is a race war.
Yeah.
And if someone has a public defender, and so question,
Yeah.
do you think that if a white man has a public defender and, let's say, goes to trial for something like rape, do you think he has a better chance of getting off of that case if a black man did?
I think he has a better chance of getting less of a sentence.
Okay. So it's
not less of a chance of getting off, but more than likely a chance of a reduced sentence, and that is an endemic part of the problem, because it's
so it's not just a class war. It's also a race war.
It's
every bit of it. It's every bit of it.
To me, if you ask
it's every bit of
almost
it.
hand in hand.
And
It's all about the Benjamins.
It is.
It's all about the Benjamins. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. But
got it on
careful
big.
now.
Drink.
It's okay.
I got it on big.
Spit on the carpet.
You would say that.
Spit on the carpet, so it's not a slip hazard.
Like, it's all about the Benjamins, baby.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Why not supposed to laugh at this?
But it's true. I mean, you look at the
My
fact
friend
that
on Facebook.
right now there is actually finally legislation before Congress to get rid of the privatized system in America, to get rid of the privatized prison system, and it's so utterly horrifying. The fact that there are privatized prisons, the fact that people get into this literal system. I know a guy who went in probably about 2 years ago and literally was just swapped back and forth between facilities for 2 years.
It's about keeping that bed full.
Like his wife and babies
Money.
could barely keep track of what facility he was in every few months.
That's horrible.
You know, and being shifted around. And it's literally a fact of money.
Travis County makes $9.50 an hour off of each individual person that's incarcerated within Travis County.
Dude, when I was in there, it cost like about I want to say like $3 or $5 for some ramen. Like if you wanted just one little ramen, you know, and you're in there and you're already strapped for cash. And
here's a trip for you: the Texas drug offenders class more expensive than the Texas drug dealers class. If you're convicted or on probation for a drug offense as an offender, your class that you have to take for the court costs more money than if you were caught as a drug dealer. Don't you think the drug dealers would have more money?
Right.
Jesus wept.
That's just a point of fact. I'm
Good
sorry,
night, everybody.
But yeah,
Like
I mean,
little man drive.
those are just the issues that exist. You know, where it's like, what the hell is that? Like, what is that all about? You know, this is the system that we've set up.
It makes no sense.
Where we're punishing people for minor drug offenses more than we're punishing the dealers who gave them the drugs for the minor drug offenses.
I mean, but even for me, it always just drives me nuts how you can think about someone having a pound of weed and going to prison forever.
Yeah.
And coming out when they're 70. But if I murder somebody or if I rape somebody, I got a better chance of coming out before you do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of, what is that?
Oh no! And then good Lord have mercy if you're a celebrity or an athlete.
Well, there's people incarcerated for less than an ounce of weed.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have people roaming the streets who've molested multiple people.
Obama did
A
just pardon the
molester
nice
roaming
lady.
the
Yeah.
streets over someone who had an eighth of weed?
Yeah.
But that's the reality. And when I hear Trump say things like stop and frisk, I'm like,
Oh my God, that is the most horrifying, unconstitutional, no Fourth Amendment thing in the world.
Let's talk about racial profiling here. Because
absolutely.
who are you really going to be stopping and frisking? So what you're basically going back to is you're going to be messing one. If someone actually does have something, they're going to jail for a long time. And it's really not that bad of an offense. Is it illegal? Yes. Did they murder somebody? No. Then you're putting them in a position where we already have an issue where the relationship between people and police officers is already bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you want police to just stop and frisk. Really? That's your answer?
Yeah. Well, and you know his example was Chicago, and I mean I don't know if you've seen Chirac, but number one, it was probably it was an incredible interpretation of Lysistrata. That was just so well done. The fact of the women will withhold their pleasures to the men until the men stop warring. But the fact that Trump brought up Chicago and the murder rate, what bugs me is the fact that that's a town that literally has a gun ban. So most of the murders are committed by illegal weapons. And it's horrifying and it's awful. So how do we stop that flow? I mean, good Lord, the government itself was caught in the midst of gun running to cartels in Mexico through Arizona.
I just thought it was hilarious the way that he brought that up, though.
Yeah. Oh no, it was utter
relations between African American community.
But no, it was
almost like he was like black on black crime.
Yeah, no, it was
kill yourself.
But to close off borders and to close off trades throughout the globe. I mean,
you can't do that.
Let's just take Mexico for instance.
Mexico.
If we close that off, I know. If we close that off, I mean, we have so many people prosperously living in our country from Mexico that are paying taxes, that are doing jobs that certain people probably don't want to do, that are doing jobs that people can't get done because they have the drive, I don't want to live in this slum anymore. I want to better myself. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a degree, And to close that off, it's just it's almost just taking millions of people and throwing them in a room. It's why is that a positive thing? Why are you not wanting to open up and experience more of what's out there? Why do you not want to experience other cultures that have a lot of positive things to bring to our country?
Because let Donald Trump tell it and his followers, whomever, you let them tell it and Mexicans are stealing our jobs and they're violent.
But they're not.
And they're not.
I have the best job that I could ever ask for.
When we know they're not, but that's his view and that's why it's okay and that's why the people who follow him believe believe it's okay because they believe that false narrative.
That's it. That's it. And it is
the false narrative.
It is spin. I mean, hey, the same concept and the same concept of violent African Americans with marijuana on the Texas border is what caused the whole friggin' marijuana craze.
That's exactly what the hell we're doing. You fucking right.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Straight up.
Seriously, fuck out of here.
In the middle of it.
Outside, anybody gonna?
No, but I mean that's what caused the marijuana laws that we have now. Was an article out of Texas talking about a black man who had attacked some people on loco weed on the Texas border.
What a spin that is!
And
that is a spin,
and it's an utter spin on something that never happened. Right. It's been acknowledged that it never happened.
About that Fast and Furious that they do, that's a fact.
Well, no, and
that's a fact.
That's what I was talking about with the government running drugs to Mexican drug cartels and stuff out of Arizona.
They always point the finger at somebody else. It's funny how we found the pressure cooker all of a sudden, like, what was it? The day before? No, the day after.
Wow, you got into some stuff there.
That the video came out of ISIS that we helped them. Yeah, okay.
Well,
they always spin some shit, dude.
Well, and that's just it.
Governments always point the finger at somebody else.
They spin a lot of stuff. So the question is, how do you sift through the spin? How do you make sure that what you're getting is an opinion that comes from both sides of the table?
It's up to us to have those conversations.
Yeah, it is.
They can feed us bullshit. It's up to us of what we plan to.
It takes a strong mind to read through that bullshit,
exactly.
right?
And that's why I was excited when I made the comment on your post about Keith Scott's brother. And I'm like, okay, well, here I am actually able to have a conversation with somebody because normally, and I hate to say it that way, but normally if I had commented on anybody else's post, they probably would have just completely ignored me, unfriended me, or unfollowed me. And
what?
No
way.
He said all white people are evil. That's true. And I'm just like, well,
no.
Okay, here we go. No. So again, it's up to us what we play into. You don't have to play into something just because it's out there.
That's right. That's
right.
Well,
and there's also a lot of anger. I feel like it's also trying to put a lot of anger out to people to get people furious. That we're already furious for no fucking reason. Yeah. And now they find a reason that's completely false. And so now they think they have something to feed off of, and it starts this rage of nonsense.
Well, and through the chasing of a headline.
It's like if I told you somebody, hey dude, somebody keyed your car outside, dude. It was that dude. Yeah,
that fucking guy.
It wasn't that dude. It was me.
I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah, exactly. You're going off just by like that dude did it. I fucking seen him do it, dude.
That motherfucker.
And you're gonna be pissed at that dude.
Fuck. Yeah, you gotta pay attention to those instigators, those hot stirs.
Exactly. And that's just it. The media, as we said, is busy chasing a headline, not busy reporting. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why Katie Couric left her job, was she was like, I tried to do reports and my editor told me bury them. And that's not my job. My job is to report. My job is to report the news and do investigative journalism.
What about Dan Rather's last speech on his last show on the nightly news? Remember that? That was very potent and very powerful. His statement on the very last one, it was pretty lengthy, but one of the lines he said was, report the news at no matter what cost, because one of the last stories he did was about George Bush, not being there, being AWOL during his military stuff and all that, and he had all the facts and he did a whole freaking thing, and it was a 2-part episode, and they did not want him to do it. And he was like, dude, I got the facts on it. Like, it's fact. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And they were like, no. And then he went to the White House, and then that's when Bush shook his hand and said, hope you like your retirement. He said, at that point, I was not even considering my retirement. Why would he say that? And it was like,
yep.
Yeah. But it takes those kind of people, like I was saying earlier. It takes those people who are willing to risk and put themselves out there when they see wrong.
That's it.
For the case of right, regardless of what the repercussions are, regardless of what anybody else feels.
Well, and that's what we're all called to do. We're all called to put ourselves out there when we see a wrong. We're all called to right it. Like, if it is within your power, if you're there and you see a wrong, you're called to right it.
Shout out to those who actually do it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. I fucking agree.
Do the right thing, report the right thing.
Well, and that's just it.
Get your fucking facts straight. Like, if you really want to understand what's going on, don't just believe one, read.
Question the headline.
Yes. Even though I don't legitimately believe some of these, headlines that were talking about how Google was skewing Hillary Clinton, I'm still going to read those articles, and then I'm going to read the next one. I'm going to read the 3 ones that I have no idea who they are. Then I'm going to read CNN. Then I'm going to read whatever. I'm going to take all of those, and then I'm going to really find, like, where is the repetitive? Where is the actual evidence? Like, who was actually talking about the facts?
Well, like any good teacher will tell you, the only stupid question is the one that you didn't ask. And, on that note, everybody, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this edition of Dudes and Beer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for Miss Tia Williams.
Thank you so much.
Podcast for being in. And hey, everybody, remember, if you can't be good,
be good at it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our live audio streams, tune in at dudesandbeer.com or Spreaker.com/dudesandbeer. You can find our episodes on SoundCloud.com as well as the Google Play and iTunes market. You can also find us on YouTube, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.